Hey guys, welcome back. This is the 29th lecture of our bootcamp series. In the last lecture, we have generated our first model, and in this lecture we will discuss about migrations a bit more. In the last lecture, when we generated our model, we saw that a migration was also generated with the model, and we also discussed the migration very briefly. But here we will discuss them in some more detail. So let's try to understand that what are migrations. Migrations are a feature of Active Record that allow you to evolve your database schema over the time. Rather than schema modification in pure SQL, migrations allow you to use a Ruby DSL to describe changes to your tables. And this Ruby DSL allowing your schema and changes to be database independent. For example, you can choose MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite as a database, but your migration will work for all and you don't have to write them according to your database. So what I mean here is just check it by the example. Okay, so here you can see I have migration that create posts and it is written in Ruby format. So it does not matter that what adapter or what database you configure for your application. You can run the same migration for MySQL and PostgreSQL, SQLite as well. So these migrations are database independent. Okay, and using the migration, we can make changes like adding attributes to the existing table, renaming attributes from existing table, and removing attributes, and so on. Okay, it depends upon our need that what we want to and or how we want to modify our existing tables or a schema. Then we can do that with migration. Now we need to know two basic commands which we frequently used while we work with migration. The first one is running a migration, and this command works like Rails db colon migrate. So whenever you generate a model or you generate a new migration, to get effect of that migration into your schema, you need to run the migration using this command Rails db migrate. And this is the most basic command to run the migration. It executes the migration which have not yet been run, or you can say that it will run all pending migrations, but if there are no such migration, it simply exists. Okay, exit, sorry, exit. Also, this command will run migrations in order to based upon their date. Okay, or you can say timestamp. So the timestamp identifies that which migration has been generated which time. Okay, so the migration generated first should be run first. Okay, so it runs the migration in order to based upon their time zone, so based upon their timestamp. One more thing to notice here is that if you have a pending migration which is not run so far, you will get a pending error, migration error, and your application stops. Okay, to get your application running, you need to ensure that there are no pending migration. Now, the next command is for rollback a migration. This command will revert the changes made to the schema from the last migration. If you run this command n times, then this will revert the changes from last n migrations. Now, it is the time that what we gonna cover in this video. So we will cover three things, that is add attributes to a table using migration. Okay, so a table will be there already and we will add my attributes to that table using migration. Now remove attributes from existing table and rename existing columns in the table. Okay, so we will do cover all these things. Now the first thing that we will cover is add attributes to a table using migration. So when we you can saw the screenshot on the screen that in the def change method I have add column, use add column helper. Okay, and then I have three different other attributes that students, address, and string. Okay, so first we will understand the syntax for adding attributes. Let's open your terminal and generate a migration. So to generate migration, you need to run the command rails g migration add columns to add columns to. I have an author table and I will add all the attributes to that author table. Add columns to authors, and let's see what we have in author table right now. So open the schema file. You can see the author tables. The author table has only name, email, and country attribute right now, and we need to add let's say address and contact number in this authors table. So we will supply those attributes here. So first we will add address, and then just make it type like string, and then contact number, and its type should be string as well, and just hit the enter. And whenever this migration will create, you will find the newly created migration in the db slash migrate directory. Okay, and the migration will take place here. But when you run the migration, that sorry, when you generate the migration, the effect of the migration will not be on table, but when you run that migration, you will see the effect of that migration on the table. So let's open the migration here. So here you can see the add column, then table name, then attribute name, then its type. So this add column is for adding the attribute, and the next argument is the table name, then the attribute name, okay, that you want to add in that table, and then the type. By default it will take the string type, but you need to mention here. So if you want to make something like integer or float value, then you have to explicitly mention that here, otherwise it will take that string by default. Now here you can see that schema is still unchanged. The author table is still have no email, sorry, address and contact number attributes. Why? Because we have to run the migration. Now let's try to implement the server, start the server. Now, when you refresh your application space, you will get run pending migration error. Okay, so why? Because we have just generated a migration and that is pending so far. So, as I told you that to get your our application running, we need to ensure that we have run all pending migrations. So, run the command rails db migrate. So whenever we run this command, let's visit see your schema. And when this command runs successfully, the these attributes, the address and contact number will be added to your schema file. So now you can see that these address and contact number has been added to the authors table. Okay, now I can add a few more attributes here. Let's say age and date of birth. So let's run the migration again, but now we will not supply the attributes to the from the terminal, because one more thing that I want to tell you that rails is smart enough. So whenever you generate a migration like add columns or remove columns or rename columns, the rails middleware automatically supply the attributes like add column, remove column, rename column into your migrations def change method, sorry, change method. But if you are using something, uh, if you are generating your migration with some other keyword, then you have to write them manually. So let's try to understand how uh, rails g migration, uh, rails g migration, and you can like dob to authors, and you can do it manually as well. So once the migration will generate, we will write the add column, uh, and table name and then attribute name and the type syntax in this migration. So our migration has been generated dob to authors, and now you can check that change method is empty for now. So what we need to do here, that we need to add it manually. So add column, then first table name is here. Now the attribute name, so let's say dob. And what should be dob, the type of dob, let's say it's a date. Okay. Now the another column is add column, age, and we can make it like sorry, it should be table name authors, and then the attribute name age, and we can make it like let's say integer. Okay, save it and run your migration. So right now you can see that there are no dob and age attributes in authors table, but when you run tails db migrate, you will see that attribute changes as the dob and age attributes get added into the authors as soon as the migration runs. So now you can see migration has been done successfully, and here you can see name, email, country was previously there, address and contact number before this migration, and this migration has added dob and age attribute. Okay, so that's how we can add attributes to existing table using migration. Now we will remove attributes from existing table, because sometime it happens that we add some attributes which we realize later that it is not required anymore, so we need to remove such extra attributes from our table. So here we did the same thing in the authors table, that we have two attributes, that first is dob and then another one is age integer. So if we have date of birth of a person or author or a student or for any real world entity, if we have its date of birth, then we don't need to store the age into database. Why? Because we can simply get the age of the person or age of the author or age of the student using his date of birth. Okay, and we can simply do that with some methods. So we will remove age from the authors table here. So you just need to do the same thing, that generate a migration, rails db, sorry, I'm just trying to going to roll back it. So rails the migration, remove age from authors. Okay, here we need to remove age from authors. Migration has been generated, and we need to use it like remove column. First the same thing with the, no matter what you are doing, add column, remove column. Okay, same thing. First one is the table name authors, and then attribute name age, and then its type. Okay, now what you need to do, that you need to run the migration, and as soon as you run this migration, the age attribute will be removed from the database. So rails db migrate. Okay, so here is the migration. First let's look at that. Sorry, this was the migration. Remove age from authors. So now open your schema, that you can see, you will see that the age attribute has been removed from the migration. So we have seen add adding the attributes into table using migration, removing attributes from the table using migration. Now we will see how to rename attributes from the migration. So here you can see that the address we can rename the address, or we can name the dob to complete field like date of birth. Okay, so let's try to rename the date of birth field. Okay, so we need to do the same thing with renaming columns. First, generate a migration and then mention rename colon table name comma your attribute name, and the third one is not the type, but it should be the new name for that attribute that you want to change. Okay, so let's run the migration. Sorry, first generate the migration. Rails g migration name column in author. So this migration gets generated here. So what you need to do here is that rename column table name, which is authors, and the attribute that we want to rename here is dob, and then the new name for that attribute, date of birth. Okay, save this and run the migration. So the raised db migrate will rename the change of will rename the dob field into the authors table. Okay, so now you can see we have no dob field anymore, and we have a new attribute that is date of birth. Sorry, we have renamed this attribute date of birth. Okay, so that's all. We will cover migration in advanced manner in another upcoming lectures. Okay, where we will see up down methods, reversible migrations, seeding data through migrations, how to run and roll back a specific migration, and so on. Okay, but for now it's quite enough to move ahead with migration based upon the discussion in the lecture. Okay, so now, yes, what is this? This is the question time. Okay, so the first question is that what are migrations in Rails? How to create migrations? What is change method in migration? How to add new attribute to existing table using migration? How to remove attributes from existing table using migration? How to rename attributes in existing table using migration? How do you mean by running a what do you mean by running a migration, and what do you mean by rollback a migration? So you just need to prepare all these things, and then you can get more better with the migration. And this is the very basic step that we required for moving ahead, and we can learn more advanced thing about migration in later and upcoming lectures. Okay, so just clone this dummy project from the description of the video and try to practice this whatever we discussed in this video so far, and let's just keep our course project untouched, and we can do all the learning stuff on this playground project. Okay, and you can let me know whenever you get or whenever you face any issues with that, and I will be happy to help you there. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching this lecture, and let's meet in the next lecture where we will create our first resource controller. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.